What is up, guys? It's Verns back here again for another Supercoach video. This time it is the AFL Round 1 review, and oof, it looks like a rough first week for us. Look, I'm not too down about it though. It's Round 1, a lot of, honestly, room to improve, and I really don't think there's something wrong with the team. I think this is one of those weeks where the premiums I chose didn't fire. Is that going to be a problem going forward? Potentially, but obviously a lot of other ones did that we antipoded. So, we brunted a lot of the score there. When I look at my total score, though, it's really not the worst case scenario. Like, as I said, when I look at this team, I think it's perfectly fine. For those listening on audio, it is just a 1992. Season rank is 96,422. If you guys are going to be waiting around to watch me absolutely pump that rank into the top 1,000, then feel free to obviously subscribe for your consistent injections of Supercoach content directly into your YouTube feed, and you can watch me pump that into the top 1,000 by the end of season. And I think that's, honestly, I think that's not even that hard of a goal. Last year I had a pretty poor start as well, and I ended up top 1,000, by sort of thing. So it will all even out. You don't just throw the baby out the bathwater off the first round. It's gonna be perfectly fine. Hey, it doesn't look good, doesn't feel great, but I still think we have a system, and we're gonna get this done. So we're gonna jump into the team, have a bit of a look at it now. Something I will tell you is, we can see English in my team instead of Gawn, and if you did watch my last video, I was really hot on Gawn. I did want to keep him, but I had 140k sitting there, and it's like, hey, if I have 140k sitting here, like, I might as well just go Gawn to English. Like, it's probably gonna be more total points, and I know that doesn't feel like that right now. And Gawn definitely feels like he's gonna be making money on his price, so it does feel a little bit painful that I made that move. What I think is most painful about it is that you can see Jai Clark's 13, and then 113k. I was sitting there thinking, that's fine. I've got that money where I can go Jai Clark straight to Colby McKercher if I need. It sucks to have that kind of money on the bench, but I can do that. And then I'll be honest, somebody ended up in an emergency room. They had fractured ribs. I ended up being up till like 3 a.m. as I'd taken them. And I remember being at like 3 a.m. like in the emergency room, like opening my Supercoach team, just like sort of looking at it and being like, oh yeah, I have this money that I didn't use. I better like upgrade, go on to English. And it's one of those things where you think about not doing it earlier in the day, and then you open it later on. And look, as you guys know, I did go to the footy. I'd had a few bevs, saying that by that time I was perfectly fine. It was like midnight, and I had bevs in the day, so I can't really blame that. It was just a thought that I knew I had locked into my brain, and even though I thought about other ways of using that money, I went ahead and used it anyway, and I can't blame anyone but myself there. But I do think English is going to be fine. I do think his coming up matchups, they're going to be very good. Gawn touted a big score this week. He's not going to be a 150 average all season long, so that's going to be perfectly fine. And I think English will be really good going forward. He's going to be really consistent. So I feel perfectly fine on what's happened here. But as we can see, this is what I'm talking about with the few of the premiums flopping. We had our defense premiums. We had Stewart and Young. Young with the 70. Honestly, that's really painful that he got that. Especially because a lot of people were tossing up Young or Sheasel. And we ended up on the Young hype, and honestly, if he doesn't perform against North this week, he may just be straight gone from my team. Not impressed with him at all. Stewart 105, like, we're fine with 105, there's nothing wrong with that. We wanted a bit more, but we get over that. D'Ambrosio, now I was at this game, and oof, my boy D'Ambrosio, he looked good. I'm very happy with starting him. And I think that's a lot of the other things I can look at, is there's a lot of good mid-prices I have here that did quite well, and people might be trying to make moves to get these guys in, and I can sort of just sit there and maybe fix up some rookies, maybe fix up some premiums if I need. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And yeah, D'Ambrosio, he was named on halfback to start. He plays a lot up on the wing and gets really up on the ground, so it doesn't really feel like a halfback role. He had an opportunity to kick a goal late as well, where he kicked it out on the full. He left a 135 plus on the table, unfortunately. But yeah, he's just a really good pick for 220k. Like, yeah, I felt like he was in a similar situation as Williams, where even when he pushes up on the wing, he plays a defensive wing where he's behind the ball and he gets a part of those chains, he gets a part of those switches, he gets involved, and he's not defensively accountable, so it like works out really nicely for him. So yeah, I was really happy with him as a pick, and he was just sensational on the day. So yeah, very very happy there. Williams 51. Look, we get over that because we know he has the ability to put in a spike game. We get, we just sort of pray for that. Now reading Gibkiss, I guess I'll put these two in together. Like, really unfortunate that they both got injured. Obviously, Gibkiss done for the season, so we have to deal with that there. Reed, my understanding that was a hamstring tightness, and they just decided to take him out as a precaution. I don't know, he ended up with 40% game time, 15 on field. Like, that really hurts, but nothing you can do about that. Just a bit of rookie roulette that we just lose there. And I know you guys are looking at that like, dude, why'd you have Howes on the bench? I mean, you can't really forecast an injury. Like, if you did watch my last video, you know the reason why I had Howes, why I had Reed over Howes on field, and he just ended up subbed off getting injured, and there's nothing you can do about that. But hopefully he will be back this week and not somebody we have to worry about trading. Caulfield, yeah, 49. It's good enough. As long as he can hold his spot, that's good enough. So we'll be fine there. And Howes, yeah, 64. Shown an ability to definitely score, which is very nice. And with these best of 18s, we will be able to sort of get him on field and hopefully ride some of his scores. Now, jumping down to I guess, the midfielders, we do have Bonds, who did really well. Like, we're happy with the 126. Definitely nothing wrong there. We paid a pretty penny for him, but this is what we expected. A very high floor. Libra, on the other hand, though, that was a bit of a disappointing game from him, only the 92. And, Sanders got subbed off, so it wasn't really like a direct impact by Sanders. It just wasn't, unfortunately, his game, which it does suck. And this week he is going to Gold Coast, which historically he's been really poor into Gold Coast. I think it's just one of those things where Rao's just a bigger bull. So I got it could be a really rough start here holding Libba, but we're going to hold him through because I got faith on him to bounce back. And I want to be on him when he does. But yeah, it could be a rough first 2 weeks with Libba. And this is something that I talked about. It's like, I didn't want buy players, but not wanting buy players, there was Merritt who outscored him, LDU who outscored him quite heavily, and then like Sarong who went absolutely monstrous. And it's like, damn, sort of ended up with like the worst of the bunch when it came to not really buy players. I mean, Dawson also did really poorly, but it's 1 week. Don't get our knickers in a twist. It's perfectly fine. I'm sure he'll bounce back, and I'm going to back my man in to bounce back. Butters 117. Look, I was kind of hoping for more. It's a little bit disappointing as my captain score, but I mean, in reality, this is a good score, and there's nothing to be upset with. It just, yeah, we just wanted more. We were just greedy, wanting more. And Nick Martin once again at this game, and oh my goodness, this was frustrating. Look, didn't really touch the ball in the second half, and in the first half, he was an absolute butcher. The amount of times I'd see him get the ball and just lace out hit a Hawks player, I was like, bro, what the hell are you doing? Like, he just couldn't kick the goddamn ball, and it was a very painful watch. This is another one where I want to back him in because he's got the role. But it is scary. It is scary that if he puts down another 60 and it's like, oh man, like if he loses this role, he's going to lose cash and he's going to be an absolute dead pick. But yeah, just a bit painful, but I think I'm going to back him in because he's got the role. But then we hit a good part of my midfield where things went really right in the mid-pricer category. Yeah, Crouch comes out with a 114. Awesome. So happy with that from him. Sort of doing what we expected him to do. Wines, 94. It's good. It's good. It's not great, but it's good. Wanting a little bit more from Wines. We sort of wanted to get to that 100 average. Yeah, I guess, once again, this is one of those weeks where we look at this and we go, I could have gone Wines down to Heaney instead of Houston in the defense line. Look, I wouldn't have had Caulfield on the team, so I still would have tanked Reed's score. Houston, yeah, scored 20 more points, so there's 20 extra points I really would have gotten over just that exchange alone. Because I would have ended up with Sanders on field, and it would have been very similar to, obviously, Caulfield. So you can't judge it off one game. I'm hoping for Wines to, as I said, lift a little bit, but once again, it's not bad. We're not too upset with that. And then Holmes. Oh, man, we all know I was hot on Holmes, and we all saw why I was hot on Holmes. Like, my goodness, this boy had a premium role. It did change a little bit, but, oh, man, like, it looked good. it looked good, and Cats get up on a win, so you'd hope he sort of holds that, and yeah, 112 from him, that's going to be delicious, and he's probably the guy that I think people are mostly trying to get in at that very cheap price, and having a good role and performing very well, so I think people are going to try and move to get Holmes in, people are going to try and move to get D'Ambrosio in, so at least I've got these guys locked down, and I don't really need to worry too much about the mid-prices, like, hey, Tuke went ballistic, that's unfortunate, but he has a bye, so we're never really hot on him. Steele, he went ballistic, and Steele I really didn't mind as a pick. We all know that if Holmes or Martin didn't have the role, I was going to flip them up to Steele. So a little unfortunate there, but that's okay. Once again, it's 1 week. Hope for the bounce back. And then Bono, 102. Very happy with that. I mean, we went McKercher up to Bono because we had the money, and I think a lot of people are a little bit upset with me with that. They're like, dude, McKercher's got a premium role. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, McKercher, 88, 102. It's a 14 points buffer that we got. 80k more. Is it super worth it? We can't tell off one game, but we don't feel bad about it. We definitely don't feel bad about it. And in a round where we desperately needed points, we're definitely okay with that. Sanders ends up being the sub, which was very unexpected. And another one that I could be looking at that, hey, if McKercher goes off again, Sanders, if he gets a sub or a poor score again, he could just be a straight flip to McKercher. Like, it's a very simple option there. Roberts doing Roberts things. We're very happy with what he's doing. And Clark looks like someone we're going to have to get rid of. He's got to go from these teams. So it's just a bit unfortunate. So we got Gibkiss who sort of has to go. We have Clark who has to go. And then I've got to figure out what to do with the other trades, if I choose to boost or not. But English, we're fine with English as 119. There's nothing wrong with that score in reality. It just feels a little bit unfortunate because we went from Gorn to him. Feels unfortunate this round. This round, Gorn obviously has Hawks, who are usually a bit more restrictive in the ruck line, so hopefully they can keep him down. And English has got West Coast coming up very soon, so he's going to be a very good VC or C option in that matchup. Grundy, a little bit disappointing from what we saw last week. And that's alright. He's a cheap price. Goldie this week. Goldie's a good tap ruckman. Not as good around the ground though, so hopefully Grundy can get some points around the ground and getting actively involved that way. And then we jumped down to the forward line. Yes, we got Heaney in, and that was pretty worthwhile getting Heaney in. Beautiful score from him. Feels awesome. Great. Fisher, super painful. He falls in the same category of Martin, where it's like he got the role, but he was an absolute butcher of the ball. And we're just going to back these guys in again this week. Nick Martin, Fisher, we're hoping that this week they can turn it around. Nick Martin over at the SCG. Hopefully he turns it around. But Fisher is obviously at Marvel against Freo. I think the difference is Fisher did play against GWS, who are going to be a very good team, and they're very high pressure. So I think into Freo, maybe he has a bit more time and space to make these decisions, and I think he could definitely have a bounce back this week. Nick Martin, I'm a little bit more worried about. James Jordan, great score, 84. We take that. Reed, 78. Beautiful. We definitely take that. And then Lazaro. Now, we all know from the preseason that I wasn't hot on Lazaro. I didn't really like Lazaro, and everyone else was telling me, hey, Lazaro's a gun. Like, lock him in. And I sort of locked him in the, I guess, with the opinion that, hey, he put out 68 Supercoach points looking not very good. Like, that's what I honestly thought. I thought, hey, he didn't look very good, and he still put out 68. Practice game, I didn't think he looked very good, but everyone was very hype on his role. And then he's come out with a bad score in the real thing, and I'm sort of sitting here like, man, I'm not really attached to this pick, and there's some really good forward options that I could just, like, flick him straight to. Sexton, 63, like, we're taking this. For this price, that's good scoring. Wilson, 66, we're happy with that. And Cadman at 72. Maybe someone like should have been fielding, considering we're expecting him to have these big spike games against North and West Coast. But, yeah, look, that's how the team wrapped up, guys. And look, we've got some trades coming here. I guess... As we mentioned, what I got to do is I got to book in some trades to start. So I think Gibkiss is definitely one that's going to happen. Jai Clark is definitely one that's going to happen. I think Lazaro is honestly one that's going to happen. It's like, that's 3 trades booked in, and then that leaves me with maybe one more trade unless I plan on using a boost. I really want to try and avoid using a boost, and I'm thinking Reed, worst case scenario, is like maybe a 1-weeker. I think I can get away with probably holding him. I don't think unfortunately Look, my whole reason of going light in defense is we had all these defense options pop up, but then obviously we lost Gibkiss, which I knew in advance, and that one I was still fine. Like, it's fine, we lost him. Reed going down was really painful. Then we had McDonald go down, which is also painful. It's like, okay, now these defenders are starting to drop like flies, and it's starting to get a little bit harder, a little bit thin back here. So I sort of brought that on myself, but I'm hoping to hold Reed. But I am thinking for this week, what needs to be done is obviously Gibkiss has to go. And I don't know if Jai Clark has to go. I'd almost prefer to go Lazaro, and that might sound weird, but it really comes down to if I want to go Berry or Dempsey with this, because if we're going to Berry, we need to sort of move Lazaro now. If we're going to Dempsey, we could actually afford to just wait a week and chill. Like, that's not really a problem. But it is difficult to sort of look at this and go, what do I do? Because a lot of these issues, if they do happen, such as Nick Martin or Hayden Young, a lot of those are going to be things that I have to flip upwards. So I need money for that. And this is where, once again, if I actually just held Gorn over English, it's not really about the points. It's about that money would be really helpful right now. It'd be super helpful. And this is just not a good move. It really bit me in the butt. And one of the things that's super painful here is that we were very hype on Billings. I always really wanted Billings in our team. And look, it was I say highly owned, but he was only like 20% owned by the comp. And he ended up being a sub last week, and we all had to jump off him. And then he was unbelievable this week. And it's like, man, I wish I had a Billings over Lazaro right now. And getting to Billings is like super painful with this team because, once again, I've thrown away that money. Like, I've thrown away that money. Like, if I knew Billings was going to be putting out a 120 before I went English to Gorn, and I could have kept this 140 to make sure I get Billings this week, then 100% I would have done that. But yeah, I think I'm a little bit just annoyed at myself, as I say, because I sort of already had mentally booked in my head that it's like Clark to McKercher is definitely a play, and then I went ahead and used the money anyway and put myself in a position where it's like, oh god, is Clark to McKercher actually even possible now because I've just thrown all this money away? I don't know, I was a little bit silly before the round, you could say. A little bit silly with, I think, just that trade specifically. I think I was happy with the rest, but I think going English to Gorn, it definitely could be painful here. What I think, yeah, I do have to do is, obviously, we'll book Gibkiss in. He has to be traded out. And I think we all know who that's going to go to. Marty Hall was really good. Really, really good. I'm just going to... Averages ain't going to really work out. Also, how painful is this? Luke Ryan. We were so hot on Luke Ryan as well at the start of the year. And then when that rumor started spreading that, hey, Luke Ryan can't kick over 40 meters. Like, he's not getting a full preseason. Like, he's not really a pick. And we ended up jumping off him. And it's so unfortunate because we were so hot on him. And then we jumped off him. And this 165, you move to him now, you're sort of just chasing points. But god damn it, that sucks. God, that hurts. That really, really bloody hurts. I'm so upset with that. Yeah, I think that's what's made me the most upset, I think, this week, is a few players that I was hot on that we got off for, various reasons, ended up absolutely popping off. So it's not Howes. We are looking for the one gamers. It's looking at total points, and that's why I can't... No, I clicked on average. Here we go, Marty Hall. So obviously he's coming for Bowie, and he was really good, and 60 Supercoach is very nice, and yeah, I know he has a bye, but I think we just sort of lock him in while Bowie's out, and he can hopefully make some good cash in the meantime. So yeah, that's what we're going to be looking at there. We're going to flip these around for now. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then we got one more trade that we sort of got to book in, and this is where we know Clark has to go. Lazaro, to a degree, doesn't have to go. If he was to bounce back and be better this week, we could technically hold him, but I think with just better options around him, I don't want to hold him. Look, Dempsey's playing this small forward role, and that's the only thing. I think that might be an unreliable role. I don't know if I can rely on that. But Berry, I think, is also not in a great role, and it came down to his team winning both games for him to put out 2 good Supercoach scores. So I don't know how much Gold Coast are going to keep winning. I don't think they're going to win this week or next week, and I think they could directly... Oh, sorry, they have a bye after that, but I don't think they'll win this round or their next game against GWS. So I think that could definitely negatively impact Berry. I think we could definitely see some 40s out of him. And as much as he's got a great break even, he's got that 100 in his cycle on his second game as well, so it's going to be in there for the next 2 games and probably make you some quick cash. I don't think he'll be a long-term play. I think his cash will, stop accruing very fast once Gold Coast stop winning. So I think Dempsey is the more appropriate play. It also banks more cash, and it's also something I don't have to do this round. If there was something I did have to do this round, it would have to be getting Billings in, but I can't get Billings in unless I'm going down from someone, and there's nobody here that it's like I look at and I want to go down from. It's like, once again, this is where if English was gone right now, and we had this 130k, yeah, it's very easy to move that round. Yeah, we'd still be probably sitting on 100k, but God, it makes the team so easy to fix, and I think I'm really angry at myself for that, because there was times I also thought that, where it's like, man, this money's going to help a lot next week, even if I don't use it, and I still just went ahead and used it. I don't know, I think I knew I was having a poor week, and I wanted to make a point of difference. I'm just frustrating myself in that situation, but look, it is what it is, unfortunately. Yeah. Super annoying. I guess we'll look at real quickly, before we keep going through these trades, I want to show you the other reason this week went so poor. And that's going to be mainly coming down to the ownership percentage. So when we jump to the ownership percentage, I'm sure many people have already tuned out of this video real quick, but it's like, hey, we're not on Dacos, had a massive score. Colby McKitcher also had a pretty good on-field score, and we're anti-potting him as well, which is painful. Fife, massive score, 50% of the comp. Sheasel, 50% of the comp, massive score. Gorn, 50% of the comp, massive score. Green, almost 50% of the comp. I didn't realize his ownership was that high. Massive pod. And then Jackson, also super high. Flanders, super high. And that's where we go. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 massive anti-pods we have that just fired. And yeah, super painful. I mean, even Miller being pretty highly owned hurt as well. Obviously, we didn't own Sicily and whatnot. I mean, Rao's still pretty high ownership at 13%. So, Steele at 12. Yeah, it just... the antipods that we chose to antipod this week definitely torched us. But as I said, we got to sit back and be like, they're not going to average 130. They're not going to average 150. They will come back to earth. And these guys, I don't think Liberatore's a 90 average. I don't think Martin's a 60 average. I'm hoping Young's not a 70 average. I think, yeah, the players we had just sort of didn't fire this week, and I'm hoping they can bounce back this coming week. And this second trade, you just got to figure it out. I think, Clark to Carroll is also one that it's like, oh yeah, that's obviously very easy to do. But just because I can go Clark to Carroll doesn't mean I should. As weird as that sounds, I think Carroll's job security is a little bit more speculative than someone like a McKercher. McKercher definitely has better job security, and I kind of want to find my way to McKercher. And I just, yeah, dodging him sucks, but even if I find my way to McKercher, he's a bench option, so it doesn't really matter what he's scoring. It's only really going to matter what money they're making. So, I mean, can Carroll match that? He probably can. Yeah, it's a super rough one to figure out this second trade. Super rough. Even the 30k, I mean, technically Young could go up to Sheasel, but I want to believe in Young bouncing back here. Yeah, look, I'm going to just end the video here, guys, because I can't make that decision. I can't figure out what to do with it, and I'll work it out. I mean, put it in my comments below. Tell me what you think is the best option there. So I'm going to go through captains quickly as well. Usually do captains after trades, but I just can't figure this out. And I think Butters into Richmond, he is notorious for going 130 plus on Richmond, so I think you just lock him in as a face save VC. So, I mean, 150 and 104. Man, I really thought his history against them previously was, better. But I guess I'll lock Butters in as, a poor Richmond side. I don't think that's going to matter. It's at the MCG. I kind of want to go English VC into Witz. I mean, what's his history? Witz has actually held him pretty restrictively, it looks like. A lot of these Gold Coast guys can definitely shark the ball, so maybe he ain't the play either. I mean, I think obviously if you've got Nacos, you're probably just Nacosing VC. I don't know about Stewart here. I mean, Sarong could definitely be an option here. I mean, so could LDU or Sheasel. I think if you guys wanted to play around with those VCs. If you got a Clary, you could look there, or Gorn VC. I think that's fine. A Heaney VC could also actually be on the tables. It could also be on the table. I mean, obviously, if you got Green or Hogan, you might just straight see them. into West Coast. You feel pretty safe about that. As I mentioned, our Butters isn't bad. And this game feels iffy to sort of VC or see anyone because Gold Coast have been hogging the Supercoach points, which is usually something that the Dogs do, but they also won their last few games, and I don't know if they're going to beat the Dogs, and I don't know if that Supercoach scoring is going to consist. So, yeah, definitely a few options there. But, yeah, I guess jump on, follow me on Twitter, because I will update my trades at the end of the week and show you what I'm going with into the round. But yeah, I guess that's how we're looking, guys. As I said, I'm not too down about it. I think we can definitely bounce back. Like, we're definitely going to bounce back. Oh, sorry, something else I guess I wanted to go through. Oh, man, I keep doing this, and people are probably tuning out every time I say that's it, and then I decide it's not it. God damn, why do I keep doing this? I wanted to go through the history of last season. It might seem like a weird thing to sort of look at, but last season, we actually had a worse starting score. We started off at 49k, and then, as you can see, sort of by round 6, we ended up at 13k, 7, 8, 10, and yeah, ended up end of the buys into the top 1,000, and we ended up getting all the way to 317 from a really rough start. I think this is a similar boat. I don't think there's too much difference in what the points would have been, like the points gap last season and this season, even though my position is significantly further back. I think I'm anti-potting a lot, and I think over the coming weeks it will sort of even out and I can make that run, sort of like I did last year. Some good trades as we go, that's obviously going to be it, but I think I'm still happy with the team. And the other thing too with the team is that we don't want to like concede our losses. There's no point being like, man, yeah, I fucked up. I guess day cost is a must-have, and I just pivot the day cost. It's like, okay, that's me accepting that I've already 30 points behind the competition. Like, I think we got to stay strong with the picks we've picked, back them in, and hope for them to bounce back. We can't just be off chasing points, or we're never going to make the comeback. We're never going to progress. We're never going to stand a chance at actually climbing that Supercoach ladder, chasing points. We got to back in these decisions we made. As I said, in reality, most of the rookies seem fine. They don't seem that bad. Like, I think they're fine. Most of the premiums, yeah, they didn't fire a few of them, which really hurt. But I still have faith in them. And then I kind of feel like we nailed the mid-prices. Like, mid-prices in the regards of D'Ambrosio, Crouch, Bonner, Holmes, Wines, nailed them. So I still think this team has a lot of room to do really well. If we can back in these mid-prices, hopefully, I'm not expecting them to score these kind of numbers, but if they can stay roughly consistent to this, premiums can step up their game a little bit, and maybe we can win Rookie Roulette on the coming week. We can make a big difference just in next week. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for real this time, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate y'all, and I will catch you next time. Peace. Later.